Okay, let's go do it. Let's make a program on Scratch. I'm going to go to scratch.mit.edu. I make sure that I'm logged in and it recognizes me. And at this point, I just hit create to create a new project. When this creates, it should have just the cat and no code. First thing I always do is give my project a name. Some people like to put the assignment number in it. I'll do that. 3.1 name project tutorial. This is a name that will make it meaningful to you. By the end of this class, we'll have about 20 programs. If they're all named untitled 1, 2, 3, 4, it will be very confusing, and you will be likely to submit projects to the wrong assignment. So please give your project a name that you can recognize. So there's my name. I don't need the cat. I'm going to go down to the sprite down here and throw it in the garbage can. Now I have no sprites. I'm going to make it easy here. I am going to choose a sprite from the sprite library. We could choose other shapes that look like letters, or we could simply select letters. We'll start with a block W. There's my W. I will also need a sprite for my A. Maybe I'll choose a different font for that. And lastly, I'm going to do just one more sprite, a T. Whoops, letters. And choose yet another font. Here's a T right there. Okay, we have 3 letters. I will arrange them on the page the way I like them. And here we go. Let's figure out what we want to do with each of these letters. So, I said that at the beginning of the program, every letter has to go to its right and readable position. So I'm going to do that right now. When the green flag is clicked, I want the W, that's the one that's selected, to go to, and here's a nice command, the go to command. When you drag it out, it has numbers in it. Those numbers are right where the letter is right now. If I move that letter, you can see those numbers change down here slightly, and there as well. So again, I'll put it right where I want it, and then I will go to that position. In case I decide this sprite will turn, I'm going to point in a direction. Point in direction 90 is the way it's facing right now. We can actually click on this wheel over here and point the letter any direction we want, and we can see in the direction box down here how Scratch translates those numbers. 90 is to the right. So in order for me to see that it's there for a while, I want to wait 1 second. Some of you will be tempted to wait longer than that. Please don't. 1 second is plenty for me to see your letters in their right and readable position. And while I'm here, I'm going to scroll down to the controls and put in a forever loop. This is what I'm going to have my W do. Let's have the W move. So, motion command, move 10 steps. If I simply click the green flag right now, it starts in its nice position and it runs off to the edge of the screen. Not very interesting hitting the edge of the screen, so I go to the bottom of the blue commands and we see one called if on edge bounce. I'm going to put that right there. That forces the N to flip over and go back and forth. If that's what we want, great. If we want it to do something more like the S did before, we could put a turn in there. Let's try that. Okay, that'll never bounce anywhere. Maybe we could turn a smaller degree. And you can see changing the number in the degrees changes the motion that the M takes the W takes quite significantly. we can always hit the green flag to get it where it wants to be. And if we hit the stop really fast, all of our letters are in their home position. So that's an example of moving, turning, and using the on-edge bounce, all motion commands. For the A, click down here, going to do very much the same thing. I'm going to start with a green flag, move to the position on the screen where we are, point in a good direction, and wait. And finally, forever. I'd like the A to change sizes. So size is actually under the looks command, purple. And if we go scroll down, change size by 10, that would cause the size to grow very rapidly. I can run just the A by clicking here. Let's do that. So there's the A growing, and at some point it stops growing because it reaches the maximum size it can be. That's not very interesting. Maybe let's make it grow and shrink. And so I'm going to use the repeat number of times, let's say 50, and this time I want to change the size by, it's going to have to be a small number. Let's do it 2, just for guessing. If I hit the green flag, the W takes off. Oh, it's already at that big size because I changed the size at the beginning of the program. I have to also set the size to 100% somewhere before that. Wait 1 second. So let's try it again. And there it is, growing without bound. But I'd like it to grow and then shrink. So I'm going to play a trick here. Repeat 50. If I put my mouse right there and right click, then a menu pops up and I can duplicate that chunk of code and plug it in right below. And this time I'm going to change by the same amount but negative. So I'm going to change size by -2. And let's stop this and reapply it. And now it's going to grow and shrink. So I've got my A growing and shrinking. And I had to remember to set the size to a nice meaningful number, a good number at the beginning of the program. So 2 down, 1 to go. Let's go to the T. T, I get there by clicking the sprite, the thumbnail down here. The T, let's do a color effect, or let's do some sort of effect. So again, in the looks commands, we have this change, and we can choose a whole bunch of different effects. In my project, I used the whirl. I think I'd like my T to fade out, so I'm going to use the ghost effect. So, as with always, we have to start when a green flag is clicked, go to the position that we've already set. I won't be changing the size or setting the direction here. We'll just be fading in and out, so we can go directly to the controls. Let's do a wait 1 second, and then forever. Whoops. There we go. If I slide that up, it changes the ghost effect. The ghost effect, if you set it to a high number, matter of fact, a ghost effect of 100 makes things disappear. So we need to change that very slowly. All of these effects actually get reset on their own, but it would be good practice to set the ghost effect. Let's see if I can find that. Set ghost effect to 0 at the beginning, and then change it to, let's see, if we changed it 100 times, by 1, it should fade out over about 2 seconds. There we go. And now it's gone. Maybe we could set ghost effect back to maybe, yeah, let's set it back to 0 after we've gone all the way. So set ghost effect to 0, and now it's there. It fades out completely, and then it repeats. It flashes back in. Okay, so there are 3 different actions on 3 different letters. They all start in the home position. They each do something different. We're using commands from the motion and the looks group. This would be worth 10 points. I'm looking forward to seeing what you come up with on your project.